And it has been decided that it would be very important to conduct this webinar in order that those of you who represent different organizations, both in the private sector and in the public sector, would be able to make your applications, submit your applications for these awards. Now, you already probably are aware that this is the first time that this is happening. So this is an inaugural scheme that has been launched under the aegis of CMA Sri Lanka. So what is the purpose? Well, you're going to hear quite a bit about the reason, the rationale, and what is expected with regard to launching such an Excellence Awards program. And it is also seen as a learning curve. What that means is by choosing to participate, by choosing to apply, it is entirely likely that your organization will be able not only to be evaluated, but also to learn how it is that your company can improve with regard to management, that is, cost and management accounting. So this is not a new field, but now it is understood as relevant in a slightly different aspect of things. I think the idea is that it is, rather than being a cost control function, the idea is that there needs to be discipline and evidence of it in an organization, that it drives value creation, enhances performance, and also management and governance within the organization. And the
Oh, yeah.
awards are designed to showcase the outstanding achievements of and recognize exceptional contributions by the individuals as well as the businesses who enter this particular program of awards and evaluation. So, as I've already mentioned in passing, there could be public sector as well as institutions which we recognize as the private sector institutions. And the whole idea is to bring value to the organization and, importantly, allow that value to accrue to the community of Sri Lanka. So that, in a nutshell, is the idea. I'm very pleased now to invite for some introductory remarks and an introductory uh, set of instructions, maybe, also that will be provided by Professor Lakshman R. Vatawala, who, of course, heads CMA Sri Lanka. And for many of you, he's no stranger, but just by way of matter of form, I would like to mention he's a past president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka, of the South Asian Federation of Accountants, known by the initials SAFA, then also headed the Organization of Professional Associations of Sri Lanka, or OPA. Then he was the founder president of AAT, that's the Association of Accounting Technicians of Sri Lanka, and the founder president of the Institute of Certified and Management Accountants of Sri Lanka, that's CMA, of course, and also was the founder president of the Institute of Chartered Professional Managers of Sri Lanka. So he's been recognized for his work that he has done over several decades, we might say. He was installed in the Hall of Fame of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka in recent times, and also was given a titular honor, Akasikamani, by the President of Sri Lanka a few years ago. So that, by way of introduction, is Professor Lakshman R. Vatawala. And let's invite Lakshman now. Please address our webinar and proceed with the introductory remarks. And those of you who are tuned in or joining us, just a little housekeeping detail. Make sure your microphones on your instruments or your devices are kept muted until you speak. When you speak, of course, you need to unmute, but the moment you've concluded speaking, then do mute, because the moment there is a disturbance, maybe even a dog barking or a door slamming, the image will shift elsewhere, and we wouldn't want that distraction. So, having mentioned that, now please pay heed as
Mm.
Professor Waterwiller speaks.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Arun. I hope you can hear me, Arun. You can? Yeah, fine.
You
Okay.
certainly can, yeah.
Okay, fine. I hope, I don't know whether you can see me or can you see me? Is
Yes,
it okay?
that too, yes.
Okay, right, fine, okay. So anyway, let me, on behalf of the Institute of Certified Management Accountants of Sri Lanka, welcome all our participants who are attending this. I think Arun has already given a short description of what it is. It is really the National Cost and Management Accounting Excellence Awards 2026. It's a briefing session that we are having because we already had the launch at which all of you all were present. And today we have invited those who are interested to submit their applications for a further meeting in order that we could explain in detail as to how you could fill the application form and the various questions that are there so that it will be make things very much easy for you. So I'm very happy that and thank you for attending. We have from our side, we have our Vice President, Mr. Naika Bandara, who's present here, and some of our council colleagues, and of course our own our consultant and the one who's really helping us a great deal on this whole program, uh, our technical expert, Mr. Prasanta Abekon, and with him are also present the other members of the technical committee, Mr. Tiral Roche, and also we have Professor Mangala Fonseca who's there. So let me also our secretariat members who are present here. So let me once again welcome, and as Arun mentioned, I would be happy if everyone will mute themselves. Uh, After the speaking sessions, that is, we have Mr. Prasanta Abekon who will be going through the whole document, application form, and also the brochure. And thereafter, if anyone has any questions, where they will be able to, if they can even raise their hands, it would be better. We can see how it goes, but the questions can be asked, questions to be brief and to the point so that it will help us to give more time for our questions and answers. So as you know, the first thing that we really did was the launch of the cost and management accounting standards. Now, cost and management accounting standards for the first time in Sri Lanka was launched by our Institute of Certified Management Accountants, and that is also a responsibility or an objective that has been given to us in our Incorporation Act, where we have to see that we set up these cost and management accounting standards. And then the second stage, of course, is how we can take it into the industry and services sector. Today, the most important item has become the cost. Even if you look at everything what is mentioned is either the cost is going up or the selling price is going up, but nothing is coming down. So even the recent problems on the energy crisis, the state of Hormuz and all those really resulted in the cost going up. And that's why we thought that we should really, I know that most of the companies are controlling their costs and of course managing. Maybe the public sector is another area where we have to go separately, but I'm sure they also need to do it because with the International Monetary Fund or the IMF, one of the main reasons is that they want to cut down the expenditure and also they want to ensure that all state-owned enterprises are able to recover their costs. Now here there is the recovering of costs is okay, but as far as the management accountants are concerned, we also look at certain other factors. One is that one should maintain cost records. That is, you should record all your costs. The other one is the efficiency and the productivity. Because if you only add the costs, ultimately there is no benefit. But costing also comes with the efficiency, the productivity, and of course, ultimately the
Yeah,
benefit
that's
should
this.
go to the people or the society. So that's what we are really looking at, and we do hope that this briefing session of ours, which uh, pr- Mr. Prasanta Abekon, who is our fellow member and is being one who has been closely involved with us on this Cost Accounting Excellence Awards, he will be able to give you all details that are required. Then I also want to remind you that you should ensure that you register with us, because if you register with us, then we will be able to give you the application form in order that you could fill it. I think already some of you have done it, but some companies need to do it. And from our secretariat, Ms. Rashmi is available, so you can speak to her and get that done. So that's a very important area of the registration. Then, of course, thereafter it will be the completing the application and submitting it. So we have, I think it's the 20th of 24th, I think 20th or 24th of July will be the closing date which will be given. And then we are planning to have the award ceremony in September, so that will give us time to go through the evaluations, and then in September where the excellence awards would be given. And also there are different categories that we have given, which you would be able to select and then do it. Plus also in the other area where the at categories, and of course the sectors, categories and the sectors. There are about 34, 35 sectors that are available. And in the event, if any sector is not mentioned, then definitely you will be able to go into the other sector and give all the details. So, with those remarks, I would like to invite, I'm sure Arun would be able to introduce Mr. Prasanta Bekun in order that he would be able to then give his presentation, after which we have the Q&A session, and our technical, maybe the experts will also be able to support you in. So once again, thank you very much. And if there's any support that you need, certainly we will be able prepared to give it to you. And anything that is required from the Q&A session, you could ask and then get clarifications. Thank you very much.
Thank you too for the positivism which has been brought into the scheme here. So that's good. Now, one thing that I would just like to underscore, this is intended to be of benefit to you. So this is not only just a one-sided lecture, but the idea is that you would need to benefit from it. So please feel free at a later point to submit your inquiries. And even if it is not in the webinar today, there is the possibility of continuing to be engaged with CMA, and Rashmi Premtilaka, as was mentioned, will be very happy to provide the necessary details and support for you to be able to process your application and have it pushed through in due course and at the due time before the due date. Okay, having said that, Prasanta Abekun, well, he is very well known with more than 25 years of experience in this sphere. He's a chairman and principal consultant and founder director of Management Frontiers Private Limited, and he has served in this area of consultancy in many countries, in addition to Sri Lanka, in Malaysia, in Bangladesh, in Zimbabwe, in Pakistan, and so on and so forth in many places. And as was mentioned, he has been vitally involved in setting up the nitty-gritty with regard to these awards that are being launched or have been launched and now will be conducted this year, 2026, the NCMA Excellence Awards. So Prasanta will outline in fair detail what is involved, the categories as was mentioned, and the areas where you could be submitting your applications and how to do it accurately. So, Prasant, all ears will listen to you.
Thank you, Arun, and thank you, Professor Vatavala, and good evening to all of you. Welcome to this briefing session on National Cost and Management Accounting Excellence Awards, just launched a few days back. I can see there are about 71 participants already joined. So I hope, apart from the council members and the staff of CMA, at least there'll be about 60 to 65 participants coming from the companies in the private sector or maybe in the public sector. So, in brief, I would like to go through the evaluation criteria and the type of awards and the categories, how we are going to identify the categories. First, Professor Vatavala just mentioned that there are 6 categories available. So let's see the categories. Very easy to identify your category. I hope you can see the screen. There are 6 categories, starting from micro, small, medium to mid-large, and large and extra large. All these categories are identified based on your turnover of the past financial year. And the thresholds of the turnover that is applicable for each of these categories are mentioned. So based on the threshold, one can really identify what the applicable category is. Then the sectors, of course, based on the type of engagement these companies are into, starting from plantation, agriculture, banking, and so on. There are about 35. We added few after the launching. So this, of course, the 32 original list, but we have 35 right now. It is there in the application. Revised application has all these.
I think one area is the exports. I think there was specific
Exports and the consulting services. Those were added. Then we move on to the evaluation criteria. Let's see how the evaluation is going to be taken place. The first stage, the evaluation is taken place in the by the technical panel, reviewing the submissions and making initial marking, and then identifying what the marks that have been earned or obtained by all these applicants. So based on the preliminary review, the expert panel will decide whether there are any site visits or any other meetings required to substantiate the data that is being submitted in the application. If that is required, these potential winners or maybe the applicants, maybe all applicants, we don't know what the threshold is going to be. So based on the threshold, the companies will be invited for a meeting or the team will visit the company to assess or obtain further evidence. Then the final stage is panel of judges. Panel of judges will go through the preliminary marking, the submissions based on the interviews that we have had in the second stage, and also if there had been any site visits, those notes and observations will be made available to the panel of judges. And panel of judges will have one-to-one meetings with all these people who are who have achieved above the threshold of winning marks. So the panel of judges, after the interview and also after reviewing the preliminary marking and also the other data evidence that is being collected, they will have the final judgment on who the winners are. There are, of course, so many categories and so many sectors, and there are a possibility of each one of you winning an award in this competition. So let's move on to the criteria in which all these companies are going to be evaluated. So we have in this criteria 6 subcategories or six criteria inside the main evaluation criteria. So first one is financial outcomes, cost management impact, and cost records. So meaning, of course, whether you have maintained cost records, they have been used in decision making, and based on the decisions that you have made, what kind of financial outcomes you have been able to achieve. So the first section will basically capture the data with regard to that, and basically the assessment will be focusing on how or to which extent the organization cost and management practices have been able to deliver financial outcomes and tangible economic value. So how effective, in other words, the cost initiatives that were taken with regard to cost savings and improving efficiency and resulting in financial outcomes. So those have been measured or identified based on your audited accounts. Small companies, maybe management accounts would be okay if they had not been audited, but annual accounts is one of the main details that are required in this application. So second one is strategic alignment of cost management with the organizational outcomes. How the top management is looking at the cost function and the information coming out of the cost function. Are we being able to use those information? Or the top management is demanding kind of specific information in order to achieve the organizational outcomes. Because it is not only bottom-top sort of provision of information, but this is top-down demanding or requiring necessary information so that the top management will be able to make appropriate decisions or informed decisions. So if there are sometimes the cost management account is a mere cost function, routing data had been identified or the information had been given, and it moves on like that. But this should be something much deeper than that. Some key information is required, and there should be some driving happening from the top in order to improve the productivity, improve the efficiency, minimize waste, improve product quality, and so on, so that it is very much linked to top management strategic approach in order to achieve organizational outcomes. Then the third component is innovation and technology adoption. So what are the innovative things the company has been able to do and have been doing, and also what kind of technology that is being adopted in order to improve this cost function, cost management, increase the kind of span of data or the information that is coming up, efficiency of this cost management function, and so on. The fourth one is governance, risk management framework, and effective cost management. In order to manage costs, in order to make sure that the company is achieving its intended outcomes, we cannot ignore the risk factors and also proper governance. So have the companies been able to identify this aspect properly and addressing it as part of the effective cost management? Like you may be not looking at some of the rules, regulations, some of the best practices, some of the risk factors have been ignored. So likewise, we are checking into or requesting information from the companies to submit information on those areas. I will go into the details one by one in a short while. Then the fifth section is integration of sustainability into operations and cost management. Of course, this journey is not just, based on somebody who is heading, based on the CEO and the MD kind of approach he's having. And when he is not there or he's not looking at or request that kind of information, it's been sort of neglected. That kind of pattern should not be there. Whatever the company is implementing, initiating has to be sustained and has to look at in sustainable way. So how well the companies have been able to look at in that way this particular cost management function and the information, and also resulting decision making. Then role of leadership and the team contribution. What kind of leadership role is being played? What kind of emphasis is being provided by the leadership in order to this cost management function to be implemented properly and have prominence in the company, and then be identified as a key function which provide key information for their decision making, and also how well this team is contributing each other and sharing information, sharing other data, collaborations, and things like that. So this is basically the 6 criteria in which the companies are going to be assessed, and these 6 criteria has got varying weightages. First one will have 30% weightage. Strategic alignment of cost management with organizational outcomes, 20% weightage. Innovation and technology adoption is about 15%. Governance, risk management framework, and effective cost management, 15%. The other two, integration of sustainability into operations and cost management, and leadership and income contribution, 10% each. In the application, of course, the marking will be 300, 200, 150, 150, 100, and 100. And the total is about 1,000 marks. So when we really mark or assess the application, it's going to be out of 1,000 marks, but here is the weightage that's going to be. Then we look at these 6 criteria in detail. So I explain what the first one is. And inside that, we have things like financial outcomes. What is the value addition and the employment creation by the company in the past 3 years? What kind of cost savings and the financial impact on the cost savings? What kind of investments the companies have been doing, and how the cost and the returns have been looked at, and cost viability and the visibility and the information quality, how well companies have been able to do resource allocation and improve their efficiency and make sure that there will be productivity gains, and how the budgeting and variance management have been as part of the cost control. So in this, under these 7 subheadings, there are various questions that are there in the application. So those who have collected the application, if they have got any specific concerns with regard to the questions that are there, we are happy to clarify them after this discussion, maybe another 10 to maybe over 10 minutes time, we can open up for the discussion. I won't take much time in explaining the other 5 criteria. So the second criteria is the strategic alignment of cost management, meaning this criteria basically focuses on the integration of cost management into strategy and assess how effectively the cost management practices are embedded into organizational planning, budgeting, pricing, investment appraisal, performance management, and things like that. It evaluates whether cost information is used in strategic decision making and how effectively cost and management practices are aligned with the organizational strategy and contributing to overall performance and company's competitiveness. So in this section, we have about 5 subsections. We are asking questions with regard to how best, how strengthen this, how strong this alignment with the organization strategy. What is the integration into planning and decision making? What are the kind of operational performance impacts and cross-functional collaboration and value creation and competitiveness? Then the third one is on the innovation and adoption of new technologies. That this will focus on innovation, modern cost management systems, digital enablement, assessing whether companies have been able to adopt modern cost accounting methodologies so that they will be able to use new techniques such as resource-based budgeting, ERP systems, activity-based costing, certain kind of automations, business intelligence dashboards, and things like that. So there are questions under these 5 categories, subcategories. What kind of innovative cost management practices have been implemented? What kind of technological and digital tools have been implemented? What kind of improvements on efficiency and performance being identified or experienced? How the decision making had been able to improve and enhance, and how well we have been able to scale it up and been able to sustain. Then the fourth one is on the governing structure and risk framework. This will focus on the robustness of the governance structures, cost governance mechanisms, effectiveness of risk management, and policies, standards, internal controls, various monitoring systems, and so on. Of course, I mean, you may have already heard, seen some of the incidences that took place in the recent past with regard to governance being not very sound, and what kind of cost that the companies have been able to incur because of this area that is being neglected. So in this section, we have another 5 subsections. We are asking questions about governance framework and its strengths, what kind of risk identification mitigation mechanisms are in place, how well the internal control are being implemented and institutionalized, how effective they are, and how are we ensuring that we are in compliance to all these regulatory and legal requirements, and also maybe some of the best practices. Even if you do not comply with the best practices, it may be not the law, it may be not a regulation, but still companies will face repercussions in a present day context. So that kind of things are being questioned here under compliance, and also how transparency, the information, and some of these information that had been shared. Then organizational resilience towards cost impact. Having identified the risks that would change the cost structure, whether we have been able to come up with various ways so that we are still in a position to sustain the business. In other words, we are resilient to some of these cost shocks and impacts that are taking place, because all the cost factors are not in the control of the organization. Almost all the cost items are externally driven. So how we are going to be resilient. Then the fifth criteria is focusing on integration of sustainability into the operations and cost management. So it's of course a long journey. So all these good things that we are doing need to be sustained. So the criteria focuses on how the organization integrate sustainability into operations and the cost management practices to create long-term financial, environmental, and social value, including the social cost. This includes succession planning, budgeting long-term capacity, building long-term capacity for sustained enhancement of cost management function as a key for informed decision-making by the company. In this section, we have again 5 subsections. We will be asking questions with regard to integration of sustainability, resource optimization, environmental and social outcomes, long-term value creation, and monitoring and reporting. And the last criteria is the leadership and team contribution. This criteria would be looking at the role of leadership and the teams in driving cost and management excellence, how well they have been able to foster performance-oriented culture inside the organization, and also ensure accountability. Are we accountable only for the board of directors and the shareholders? Are we accountable for other people also? Have we been able to look at that kind of accountability framework, and are we operating in that way? So that all coming from the leadership that is being provided to the company, employees, maybe the board of directors and the MD, CEO, that group. So this includes leadership and the teams driving cost-conscious culture and their commitment to promoting and fostering cost-conscious culture within the organization. And recognition is given to the teams that successfully embed cost discipline across all departments. And this also have four subsections: leadership commitment, team engagement and capacity building, cross-functional teamwork, and performance culture and accountability. So you can see in the 5 or 6 main criteria have got 31 subsections. 31 subsections will have different questions in the application. Maybe if you really count all of them, it's about 140 to 145 questions. But those are not really, very difficult or kind of questions that require major thinking and preparation, because all these are practical work that you have been able to do or you have been doing inside the organization. So it's just a matter of articulating what and how you have been able to do and what have been taking place in the company with regard to the cost and cost management function. So with this, I think we can go through our applications. Most of you may have collected the application already. So anybody has any question, any specific section to be discussed, any clarification, we are happy to provide that explanation. So Professor, this is what I thought I would present at this stage. And of course, we can go into detail when we open up the session for the discussion. Thank you.
You'll go into the application now, or you're?
I can go through if required. What would be the best?
I think better we finish the application and then take up any questions. That
Right.
would be
Okay.
right. Okay.
Okay. So I'll stop sharing this one and I will maybe share the application. Okay, the first part is not really any questions or anything like that. First section is about your company address, what kind of organization it is, and what is your category, extra large, large, based on the turnover, and your sector to be marked here, what the number of the sector, agriculture, plantation, or whatever it is. Then brief description of the business and products and services. Organization chart, so that we will know what kind of setup that is, and then contact person and signature or the certification by the CEO of the managing director or the chief executive. Then
I think one thing,
yeah,
Prasanta, it might be good to tell about that classification of the categories. No, that is the companies where we are going on turnover. It might be good to just to mention that. No.
Okay. Let me share that document also. I don't think it is in the presentation, but I have to.
Yeah, it's there. It's there. It's there. I think it is there. Yeah. Category is there. I think it's on the third page. It should be there.
Categories are there, but the thresholds.
Yeah, I think it was there. I just see.
Thresholds are there in the brochure, I think, not in this one. I'll have to quickly open up the brochure. I can do that. Hold on a second. Yeah, these are the turnover levels. Starting with micro, it means less than 20 million a year. Small, 21 million to 100 million. Medium means 101 million to 1 billion. Mid-large, more than 1 billion, but less than 50 billion. Large, in excess of 50 billion, but less than 150 billion. And extra large is more than 150 billion. So based on the annual turnover, the category will be identified. That is there in the brochure. So with the application, you will get a copy of the brochure, and the companies will be able to identify their respective category based on the turnover of the last financial year as per your audited accounts or management accounts if the company is not really a company which needs to have their accounts audited. It's a private limited company, of course, you have to have an audit. It is maybe partnership, very small micro level, then maybe management accounts can be accepted, but not for a company in the category of large or extra large or mid large or maybe even medium, where unaudited accounts be accepted. Right. With that, maybe we can go to the application. Right. This is the first section, as I said, earning 300 marks, financial outcomes, cost management impact, and the cost records. So we are starting with the financial outcomes. What is your revenue, export revenue, revenue from foreign operations? What is your total turnover, local and export and all that? So basically, the total of the first three lines will give you the total revenue. Then what is your earnings before interest and tax? Net profit before tax and total assets, and also earnings before interest and tax per employee, rupees million. Then if you have exports and foreign operations, you can include those details here. And if you are exporting, what kind of investments have been made in the past few years in those foreign operations. Maybe in other countries, that kind of investments, if that have been made, those information can be put in here. But if there are no, say for an example, this is a non-exporting company, some of these details are not really applicable. So they can keep it blank or say not applicable. Doesn't mean that you are depriving of marks or anything like that, because you are competing with equal categories and equal level of companies. So therefore, there will be no major disadvantage if you don't export or no foreign operations. Then about the value addition, accountants know how to calculate the value addition. From the net profit also, you can go up and adding salaries and things like that. Identify what the value addition is. So that working for the last 3 years is required, and this will be in line with the audited financial accounts. Then also how many new employees have been able to generate in the past 3 years. Again, no new employee doesn't mean that the company is again going to be depriving of marks because nowadays the trend is that most of the things are getting automated. Most of the things are being done by kind of softwares and other systems that have been developed. So therefore, there may not be major increase in number of employees. So you are again reporting with the context. So therefore, you will achieve marks, get marks based on the context and what you have been able to do. So those were the two sections in the first main category. The third one is about cost savings and financial impact. So we're asking 5 questions there. Describe the cost management initiatives implemented. What are the total quantified cost savings achieved and percentage reductions? You can put up a table and explain what these are. And over what period were these savings realized? Is it only this year, last 3 years, and things like that? Is it recurring or not one-off? Some of these are maybe one-off, some of them maybe you continue to do. We have to describe whether it is recurring or one-off. And also what proportion of total organizational cost do these savings represent? So you have, big cost or out of the total cost that the company incur, what is the proportion of these savings? And we are requesting evidence such as financial statements, management reports, audited financial statements, cost audits that we have done, and so on. Anything, if the company thinks that is very confidential, we are not demanding, but you can mention that in some other way without really submitting that particular document. You can describe this is the kind of initiative, this is how we did it, and this is what the benefits were. Then returns on the investments. Have we been able to looking at the investments on a very objective way? Various kinds of investments. What is the value of investments amount? Rupees millions. What is the ROI that is being projected? What is the actual ROI? It is already being completed and in operation, and projected payback and actual payback. So that will in effect will show you how well we have been able to do our projections and implement our initiatives as we plan. It's not really, in big variance when the payback period is expected to be 5 years, but the payback is 12 years or something like that. Then what kind of assumptions are used in calculating these ROIs? The discount, the inflation, kind of expected returns by the shareholders. So that will give you a weighted cost of capital. And based on that, we do the whole calculation. So that kind of assumptions need to be included here. And were there any intangible benefits because of this? Our investments in, say, for an example, ERP systems, because of that, we have readily available information, analyze in depth. So therefore, our decision making has improved. Of course, you can't put a value into that. So that is why we are asking, because of these investments, have there been any intangible benefits that we can talk about? Then under that, the fifth subsection is cost visibility and information quality. What cost management systems and methodologies are being used? To what extent costs are captured, classified, and reported across departments? How frequently these cost reports are generated and reviewed? Are cost reports accurate? How we make sure it is accurate and produced timely, and they are being very useful for decision making, or are we being used for decision making at all? And how we are ensuring that data integrity is there and data reliability is taken care of, and how cost visibility improved decision making. We'll have to have some information on that, which we are not expecting lengthy essay kind of replies here, but very brief and to the point. One can explain the cost visibility have been improving the decision making. Then resource allocation. Now that we know the details of cost, how it is behaving, what kind of trends that are there, have you been able to use those information for resource allocation? So how are the resource allocation across functions and projects? What improvements have been made in optimizing resource allocation? Provide examples on resource allocation. And are there measurable improvements in output relative to inputs? Of course, productive, measurable improvement in productivity, efficiency point of view, it's about input-output ratio. So what kind of measurable improvements have been able to accrue? And provide quantitative evidence for productivity gains, quantify efficiency gains that have been achieved linked to cost management initiatives. And how sustainable are these productivity improvements? Then the last item under the first main category or criteria is budgeting and variance management. Are we preparing budget in the first place? Are they annual budgets? Do we have budgets for operational plans as well, operational budgets? And also 3 to 5 years, annual and rolling budgets. Some companies may have all three, some companies have only one or two. So what is the budgeting approach? Is it zero base? Is it rolling budget? Is it traditional line item budgeting? How we have been able to use the budget? Are we doing variance calculations, variance analysis? And what kind of variances have been able to see if you compare budget with the actual of the previous year? Are we monitoring the variances and reporting? Are we taking corrective actions when significant variances occur? And has variance management improved over time? And we need to have trend data so that we will know the management is really looking at this kind of variances. They are questioning it, they are taking actions on it, so that it is part and parcel of strategic and operational decision making. So that is about the first part. I don't see anything difficult there in the first section. It's most of the things are very straightforward. Sometimes these productivity gains and efficiency gains may not have been calculated separately, but if you really look at your other data, we should be able to come up with that kind of quantified information to be submitted in the application. Then we move on to the second criteria, which is strategic alignment of cost management with the organizational outcomes. So alignment with the organization strategy. Describe your organization's key strategic objectives and what is the primary purpose of the cost and management function. I mean, we are asking very fundamental question. How do you look at the cost function? What is the purpose? What do you see as the purpose? That will have to be thought about. I don't know whether companies have really identified or internalized the purpose as such, but this is something required by the companies now to look at what the purpose of this cost and management function is. And then based on the purpose, are we doing the justice for the purpose? Are we using it? Is it being used for these strategic priorities? And cost objectives are formally embedded in the corporate strategy. How is the alignment between financial outcomes and the strategic objectives ensured? So basically, the companies have the strategies and the strategic plans and various the strategic objectives or the outcomes to be achieved in the long run. So in that particular journey, what is my cost and management accounting part? What does it do and what it should do? What is the purpose of me having that particular unit? Is the alignment with the strategy. Then how that section had been able to integrate with the planning and decision making. How are the cost considerations integrated into strategic and operational planning? are the cost data and analysis used in decision making. Like companies can say, okay, we identify the cost, and based on the cost, we do the pricing. And before we make the pricing decisions, we look at the cost. But it is a traditional, any company will do that, any trader will do that. But this is kind of, as I said the other day, the Chinese example, where you basically trying to re-engineer, go back and work backwards as to how you make decisions with regard to the cost of production, cost of your products and services, uh, and whether the planning can be done in such a way that we can still kind of do re-engineering and shape up our cost part rather than identifying the cost and coming up with the pricing decisions. So that is why some companies are really given emphasis on cost management function compared to the financial reporting function, because cost managing function is really required for the strategic planning strategic decision making. Financial, of course, at the end of the year or at the end of the month, you know what the results are, what kind of variances you have and all that. But for you to get it, the initial part is very important, because that is where the decisions have been made, what materials to be made, what production processes to be made, when to produce, what to produce, where to produce, whom to be produced. That kind of information, that kind of decisions, that kind of questions are answered only through management accounting information. So that is the integration we are talking about. Then operational performance impact. Because of this cost management and well-integrated cost management function, we are requesting to highlight operational performance impact, provide qualitative evidence of productivity gains, how have cost management initiatives contributed to overall organization performance, do we have KPIs identified, are they being aligned between cost management and organizational performance targets, what are the improvements in profitability, service delivery, or operational efficiencies, and other non-financial outcomes contribute to these initiatives, and provide before and after performance comparison. It means after implementing certain cost initiatives or cost management decisions being taken, how the performance have improved. So we look at the comparison before and after. The third one under the second key criteria is cross-functional collaboration. Of course, cost management function cannot exist alone. So all this information need to be fed into the cost function by the other departments. So how are the cost management practices coordinated across different departments? Provide examples of cross-functional initiatives that improve the cost efficiency or performance. Are there formal mechanisms like committees, working groups, like quality circles that we used to talk about some years back when we were studying management? How is information shared across departments to support cost management? What challenges were faced in collaboration with other departments and how they were addressed? Because some of these changes within the organizations are not very easy. So we look at practical aspects. Have you had any challenges, and whether you have been able to mitigate it effectively or address them effectively, so that companies getting the benefit at the end of the day because of these new initiatives. Then value creation and competitiveness. How the cost management initiatives contributed to the value creation. Have these initiatives improved organizational competitive position? Are there innovations in pricing, service delivery, or cost structures that enhance competitiveness? How does the organization benchmark its performance against competitors and industry standards? What long-term benefits have been realized because of this? I mean, there are many examples we can talk about, like the main cost that the manufacturing companies are incurring today is, apart from salaries and wages, is the power cost. So have you been able to do anything in that? Have you been able to come up with innovative things, innovative ways of do the value creation and be competitive, rather than saying now my cost has gone up, therefore this is going to be my price, because you may be able to survive internally, locally, but if that is the case, definitely in an international arena, this company is going to go out of the picture, because other countries may be looking at the same challenges and taking actions to be productive and cost effective, even with rising cost of power or energy due to various other external impacts. Then the third one is innovative and technology adoption. It is fairly straightforward. What kind of innovative things we have been able to do, what kind of new technology adoption we have been able to do, how organizations leverage innovation and technology to enhance cost management efficiency and decision making. A lot of companies are going into ERP systems, going into other systems, develop the systems on their own. Some of these farms I know looking at GPS systems to see the quality of the crop and quantity of the crop and things like that. So they'll be able to make proper decisions and informed decisions. So that kind of innovative things that we have been able to adopt, that kind of new technology that have been able to adopt, is what we are asking. So describe innovative cost management practices. What make these practices different from traditional? What challenges or problems were these innovations designed to address? Provide measurable outcomes resulting from these innovations. Were these innovations internally developed or adopted from external best practices? Then technology adoption, digital tools adoption. What technologies, process innovations or digital tools have been implemented to support cost and management practices? Were there any technology or process innovations that contribute to productivity? What was the scope and scale of implementation? How were these technologies integrated into the existing systems? What investments were made, like financial, maybe new human capital, new expertise, and time? How long did it really take? Were there any challenges again in implementation, how they were addressed? And because of this new technology or digital adoptions that have been able to undertake by the company, what kind of improvements in efficiency and performance are visible? What improvements in operational efficiency have been achieved? Provide quantitative evidence, reduction in processing time, cost per unit, cycle time improvements, reduction in waste, and things like that. How has productivity improved? Cost per employee, automated benefits, cost per unit of power, and things like that. What impact has been observed and overall organization performance? Provide before and after comparisons. And decision making enhancement. Because of this new technology, it has been their innovative way we are doing it, and digital platforms and things like that have been implemented. So how it's been impacting on our decision making? How have digital tools improved data availability and quality of decision making? Are real-time or near real-time insights available? What types of decisions are supported? Provide examples where data-driven insights improved decisions, and whether they have been able to scale it up and also sustain scalability and sustainability. Can the implemented innovations and technologies be scaled across the organization? Provide examples. Are these solutions adaptable for the future growth or changes? How sustainable are these initiatives in terms of cost, maintenance, and long-term value? Are there plans for future enhancement and or expansion? Have these innovations been replicated in other units or organizations? Now, this is sometimes, for an example, this innovation may be across the company. So there are no other units or anything like that. For an example, if I take, So one company can say it's overall across the organization, it's been institutionalized. So replication is not really not applicable. Other organization again, if it is not a group company, one company's innovative things will not be maybe shared or be available to the other competitors and other organizations. So this is one of the questions that I can see some people might say not applicable. So don't worry, if we have done well in the other uh, parts that we discussed, that not being replicated by the other organizations, you don't have to worry about it because you have already earned all the marks on the other side because we have done well in that regard. Because some people might say now here we have nothing to say, we don't sort of really replicate this anywhere. Don't worry. This is, we are just asking, like Mercedes-Benz coming up with various innovations. They are being shared by all the automobile companies free of charge. That is their company policy. They don't really care competition with regard to the innovation like anti-brake systems, seat belt, power steering, all that were innovated by automobile companies have been shared with all the other companies. So those are the things that we are asking here, but it is not always the case. Right. So let's move on to the fourth one, governance, risk management framework, and effective cost management. So what is our governance structure? Is the governance structure support effective cost management and practices? Provide evidence. Because some companies might not really take it as a part of their um, information feeding area with regard to their day-to-day or strategic decision making. But we want to know how well they have placed the cost accounting and the cost function when it comes to governance and managing risks. So then we go into the risk function. How do I identify the risk? What processes are used to identify and assess financial and operational risk? Provide examples of key risks that has been identified. What mitigatory measures are being implemented? If there is formal risk register, we don't want to look at the register. If we at least give the format of it and not real examples, maybe bogus one or two examples so that we know how we are looking at it. That kind of information is what we require under evidence, not the photocopy of the risk register that you have. Then internal controls. When the internal controls are not effective, as we all know, there may be thefts and all these other waste and things like that are happening. So that will impact on the cost. So that is why, as a cost and management accountant, that unit and the head of the unit will have to be very conscious about the risks that are there for the company that need to be well mitigated. The internal controls will have major impacts on the cost of the company and how well we are complying with the rules, regulations, and other best practices. Under compliance, we are asking a few questions such as how does the organization ensure compliance with laws, regulations, and the internal policies? Are these mechanisms to ensure transparency, reporting, disclosures, audit trails? Have there been any compliance breaches? Compliance breaches means you can end up with a huge cost sometimes, maybe litigations and things like that. Provide supporting documentation for compliance reports. Anybody looking at compliance? Are there compliance frameworks or kind of template where you will look at them every month, every quarter, assess them, like payment of EPF, VTF, for an example. Again, compliance, sometimes you miss the payment on the due date and there will be penalty and things like that. So that will coming into the P&L at the end of the year and you will have additional cost coming in. That is what we are looking at here. That is an example, small example, but there could be major ones as well. That is something, I mean, sometimes applicable for companies, sometimes not applicable, but what exactly applicable and how important it is going to be in the context in which company operates, like foreign buyers, foreign regulations, legal requirements, foreign product standards, quality certifications, that kind of stuff. Then organizational resilience towards cost impact. As we discussed earlier, also I mentioned with regard to the power cost, how resilient we are with regard to staff remuneration and wages. I mean, there may be so many factors that impact on the cost and the profitability and the productivity and the efficiency. So what is our resilience? How prepared the organization to respond to financial, operational, external shocks? Are there business continuity or contingency plans in place? Provide examples where the organization demonstrated resilience during disruptions. How do governance and risk practices contribute to long-term stability? I mean, there are various examples. Companies have gone bankrupt within one day, within a day. There are many examples. If you really don't look at the risk factors and also improve the resilience. Then the fifth category is integration of sustainability. All these things need to be sustained. It's not just 1 year hit and run kind of initiatives, and impact on the operations and the cost management. So integration of sustainability is the sustainability integrated into the organizational overall strategy and the cost management practices. Are there formal sustainability policies or frameworks in place? How are sustainability considerations incorporated into decision making? Provide examples. How is the leadership commitment to the sustainability demonstrated? Resource optimization. What measures have been taken to optimize the use of key resources? Provide quantitative evidence of improvements in resource efficiency. How do cost management practices support efficient resource utilization? Are there systems in place to monitor resources usage? Then environmental and social outcomes. If we don't really look at environmental aspects and the social outcomes, again, the sustainability may be at stake. That's why we are just looking at that part of that area as well. What initiatives have been implemented to reduce environmental negative impact, like emissions, waste, energy use? Are there measurable environmental performance indicators? How does the organization contribute to social outcomes like employee well-being, community engagement, and so on? Have sustainability initiatives improved organizational reputation or stakeholder trust? Provide evidence of compliance with environmental and social standards. Then long-term value creation. How do cost management practices contribute to long-term financial sustainable resilience? Provide examples of investments and initiatives that deliver long-term value rather than short-term. How does the organization balance cost efficiency with quality, sustainability, and stakeholder value? Are there measurable long-term benefits like improved margins, risk reduction, market positioning? Again, provide evidence of sustained impact over time, trend data, multi-year performance. Then monitoring and performance. How are we monitoring this? What systems are in place to monitor sustainability performance? Are sustainability metrics regularly tracked and reported? Are reports aligned with recognized frameworks? And how sustainability performance communicated to the shareholders? And independent validations or audits being taken up by the companies. Then the last one is section 6, the 6 criteria, role of leadership and team contribution. Leadership commitment. How does the senior leadership demonstrate commitment to cost and management excellence? Are there clear policies, directives, strategic priorities set by the leadership? How frequently does the leadership review cost performance and related outcomes? Provide examples. And how is leadership accountability for results ensured? Then team engagement and capacity building. how the employees engage in cost management and performance improvement initiatives, what training or capacity building programs have been implemented to strengthen the staff competencies and skills, how are employees encouraged to contribute ideas or cost savings or innovation? Are there mechanisms to recognize or reward staff contributions? Provide evidence. And cross-functional teamwork, how do different departments collaborate on cost and management initiatives? Provide examples. Are there formal structures such as committees, task force to support collaboration? And what challenges were encountered in teamwork and how they were addressed? Then the last section is performance culture and accountability. All in all, this would create a culture where everybody is going to be accountable for performance, and the cost in terms of actual cost that is being incurred, cost in terms of protecting the environment, cost in terms of safeguarding and safeguarding the society and contributing to the society. So that kind of culture, has it been inculcated in the company? How is culture, performance, and cost consciousness promoted within the organization? Are there clearly defined KPIs? How is individual and team performance monitored and evaluated? Are there accountability mechanisms for underperformance or deviations? Provide examples. So this is what the approach is in this award scheme. Of course, award is one thing, but we'll have to assess who is doing their affairs in a best way. So that is why we need to come up with all these other areas rather than limiting our focus on cost accounting records, and resulting financial or company other performance, maybe market share or whatever it is. So this focus is not going to be sort of very narrow focus like that, but we are looking at holistically, asking the very fundamental question as to why the cost management is there in the world being practiced in the first place. It is not merely identifying the cost and doing your business. It is in a very, very broader perspective. That is how the other countries have been applied this particular discipline, and that is where CMA is driving us towards in the years to come. So with that, I will stop my presentation. If there are any other questions or clarifications needed, we are happy to provide that additional information and the clarifications. Thank you.
Thank you too, Prasanta. We appreciate the trouble you've taken to explain the details. And of course, as they say, the devil is in the detail. I'm reminded of what at the launch Professor Mangala mentioned, that the idea is to be brief and to the point, and that there is no added advantage in voluminous words, amounts of words describing what is being done and so on and so forth. Short and sweet, as the saying has value. So I just thought I might mention that. At this juncture, I think we are able to bring in yet another of the committee who are vitally involved with this whole exercise, and I'm pleased to invite the participation of Tyrrell Roche, who's been a pivotal figure in the development of cost accounting standards in Sri Lanka. It was mentioned earlier on by Professor Watavala that cost and management accounting standards for Sri Lanka was launched and is due to be adopted for implementation and acceptance in July coming up. So Tyrrell was very much part of that, and he has, while with that background, he has contributed professionally in his own sphere, and currently serves as the director and CEO of Tibro Capital Private Limited, which is a firm dedicated to enhancing client wealth through strategic financial consulting, research, and advisory services. So Tyrrell is also there. And at this point, maybe invite those that are linked in and participating in this webinar to now direct question. Do be involved, and it'll help a great deal if you were to kind of lead the discussion by indicating what the factors are, what the areas are that need clarification, and what needs to be explained further so that your application can be brought up to speed and submitted in a timely way. So I'm just going to suggest that you use the device that you have for raising the hand, and then proceed with directing those questions to the people I mentioned, that is Mr. Abekun as well as Tero.
I think if there are any questions, you can unmute and then ask the question so that there won't be any sort of difficulty for you. I think I saw Mr. Nalaka. Nalaka, you have mentioned something. Do you want to
Yes, put that
unmute?
in the chat, no, Professor.
Yeah, right.
Prashant, I think his question is how to rate the intangibles.
Intangible outcomes, benefits.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. Companies can use their own scale. Maybe, we have been able to improve for an example, time taken for decision making. And we consider it as a very high impact achievement, or maybe low impact, medium impact. So they can have their own judgment with regard to the rating, because we really cannot give figure kind of thing. So I mean, say for an example, risk assessment, you identify same risk, but for one company it may be moderate, for the other company it would be low, for the other company maybe high risk, same factor. So likewise, let them come up with their own assessment. Maybe they can use a scale like that, high, medium, or low, or something like that. For those kind of intangible benefits and outcomes, we will not be able to give a scale as such, because that need to be looked at from their own context. And let's see, with this particular description that is coming, the technical committee and the assessors will have to look at whether this submission can be something accepted, or though they are say for an example, high impact, it may not be really high impact in the context or something like that. So this is one of the limitations we have, but that is the only kind of mitigatory measure we can suggest for them to come up with their own way of quantifying it, maybe in a scale, say out of various scales, medium, high, or something like that. Thanks.
right. Thanks.
Actually, just one of the reasons that I think if you look at what Mr. Prasanta has given, he has really gone into a lot of details, because one of the reasons is that this is the first time that we are implementing this cost management excellence awards, which means that a lot of you would like to maybe find out exactly what it is. So that's why, although he has explained that there are, for each area, that there are so many questions, one of the reasons is for you all to understand the concepts. So it will be not too difficult when you are answering it. And then what he's also said is that you don't have to write long essays, but maybe give a short description of what is applicable. So I hope, Prasanta, that is clear, because I think that's something that we need to tell everyone, so that then they will be able to go through the details and then may be able to give short answers.
Yeah. I mean, you may have realized by now, all this what we saw in the application are all practical things. how it is been applied, how the decision making has been improving, how the resource allocation is being done, are we looking at the KPIs? So all these things are there in the company, just that we don't pay attention to all these details as we work day and night. Because in the private companies, you don't really have time to look at other things. You have to perform on what we are really supposed to be doing. But this is a broader perspective, like Professor mentioned. The team, which developed this particular criteria had a big challenge. Challenge in the sense, like as I said the other day, for the Business Excellence Awards, we had Malcolm Baldrige Business Excellence Awards that is being implemented internationally. So we basically tailor-made that and applied it here. And we did it in 2003, and it is being implemented like that. Of course, when we were trying to prepare this, we looked at such frameworks in the world, and there is nothing available, nothing at all publicly available. And CMA Sri Lanka is a regional and also international body. Once this is publicized and once the award is being provided, all this information will be available to the world. So we can't run down the CMA as an international organization with a very, very, uh, uh, mid quality or low quality kind of assessment, because everybody is looking at you as to what the institution is doing. So we have to protect the institution, the membership, and also we have to do the justice for the business organizations that are operating in Sri Lanka. So we should not be looking at this as, of course, it's a lengthy document, but it does not mean that it is kind of you are trying to achieve PhD or something like that. You spend 3-4 days with a proper team, and you will get all the information that is required. It's nothing rocket science. It's basically practical things that you do. So that is how this is being created. So I'm sure the participants and the companies will appreciate the efforts of the institute also in that way. Thank you.
Dhiral, there are some questions. You
Yeah.
can take them.
Prashanta, there is another question from, I think, Dr. Nuwan Gunawardana. In a group companies, can we process application as group level by considering group turnover for category selection?
Yeah, group company, as we discussed the other day, for an example, if it is a holding company, incorporated, properly incorporated with a legal entity,
Right.
Yes, can apply.
Can apply.
Can apply.
Then there is another question. We are in the vehicle emission testing business, maybe LAFs or the other company. What is the sector applicable for this business?
Offhand, I think it's going to be other, no?
Other, no? We
Other,
haven't put a sector for emissions, no?
Yeah, other.
Yeah, better to apply under other.
Yes.
So if there are any question, you can raise your hand or put it in this chat box. Huh?
No, if they want to speak, they can speak.
Yeah, of course.
They can speak. Yeah. Can we have any comments? I think there are many of you have been listening to it. If you have any comments, please give it, because that will help us to give any answers or to make any possible improvements.
Prashant, there is another question. Please advise on the supporting documents that should be attached as evidence for KPI.
KPI is coming up in many places. So whatever the KPI that are applicable can be placed in that section. Like KPI maybe is there in the last question also, last section, social cost and things like that. So we can say these are the KPIs that we use. Then The
What are the
profitability.
supporting documents that they should they have
Uh,
supporting documents for that?
There may be a dashboard, there may be a management reports that are being
Right.
provided quarterly.
Hmm.
Just a sketch of it or the format of it is enough. Not really the figures. I don't, if they don't want to. I mean,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah,
Divulge the figures. Yeah. Right.
yeah. Then it's okay. But at least we know that you are using this kind of format. It is being produced to the top management in quarterly basis or monthly basis, and these are the kinds of indicators that they are looking at. So that is enough.
There is another question from Pratibani. Can we separate healthcare services for hospital and other healthcare services?
I think we have to do it that way. So
Yeah,
hospitals will be taken separately,
hospitals separate and other healthcare like labs and pharmacies and things like that
Yeah.
can be separate. That's okay, no, Prashant, with you?
Yeah, it's okay. It should be okay.
Ajit Nisanka, you are there. He's really from the plantation sector and also one of our own members. Can you unmute and just give a few comments? Ajit?
Yes, I am fine with all the details. So we are in the process last so many years. So we actually thank CMA for having this recognitions, all the companies. So it is encouraging us to improve our reporting and our communication with the stakeholders.
When you consider the plantation sector, you have any special comments to make?
Actually, now these awards especially going to consider the cost management aspect. So plantation, we are in the sector which practicing the cost management for so many years from the from starting from the colonial time.
Yeah.
So considering that aspect also is commendable, sir.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Felix Fernandopoulos, you like to say something on our awards that we are having? You have to unmute if you are going to speak. Any others who would like to, you can unmute and introduce yourself and speak. I think Mr. Hennaka Bandara, you're there. Why don't you unmute and...
No, for the time being, I don't have any comments as such, but going forward, definitely I will be able to contribute.
Right, thank you. Any others from industry area? Do you want to? Nalaka, you're there. You want to say anything, Nalaka?
Yeah, Professor, I'm here. And just
Yeah.
I will add something. I mean, yesterday itself, I used to talk to Chamber of Commerce here in Ratnapura, and I found this type of thing, Professor. Because when I suggested in this one, and the CEO is not negative, but he said this fact. I mean, they also organizing award, a particular award to their organization. So if they start promoting this one, it will be overlap and kind of thing. So in my view, can't we embed this to their things as well? I mean, before they take their things, so why they are not taking? I mean. this kind of thing to their criteria. And this is already, I mean, this is coming from the CMA, and it is a body of evaluating all the accounting. It's talk about all the entire process of the accounting and all that. So they can take this as a criteria, one for the accountancy. Uh, I mean, on their selecting the other criteria, like how much they have been export and all that. So why we can't amalgamate these things, suggesting for them to amalgamate these things with their selection criteria in their own professor. So in that case, so we
No,
can.
actually, suggestion is good, but what I want to tell you is now, as I told you, we launched the cost accounting standards. So really, we are going on maybe on a professional basis on a different category. So it will be difficult for us to maybe make changes because we have to base it on the standards and the applicability in the company. So we'll keep it at that because I think as a professional body, we maybe we have to do things in a different way. Their suggestion is good, but if they have any members, certainly you can also speak to them and
Yeah,
get them
Prabha, they
to.
have Ratnapur itself. They have 400 odd guys. So that's why I said them. Okay, why not to
No,
think?
that's why. So you see, they are. It may be a little difficult at this area. Out of that 400, maybe they can select a few members who may be able to apply for, and that would be the best thing to do. You
Yeah,
speak to them that
that's
way,
also good.
and
Yes,
then get them to apply out of the 400. They can select a few people, maybe 5 or 10 members, who
okay,
can apply for one. Okay,
that's really
right.
perfect.
I think there was another question.
Yeah, I think
Kiran.
question for Professor, would it be possible for us to apply for two sectors, given that we are operating as a single
Yeah,
company?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, actually, that is possible. I discussed with Prasanta also.
Right.
Only thing is, then we have put one sector, then you have to put the other sector, which would also mean that we have to evaluate for two sectors. So, which means the application fee also may have to be go proportionately. So, if it is two sectors, then maybe double the amount. But you can discuss with us, and we will help you in how you can do it. But generally, we have been going in one sector, but I know some companies have two, three
Mm.
sectors, and we may have to discuss with us and then see how it could be done. Prasanta, what are your comments on that?
Mm, yeah, if they want to apply, let's accommodate and see whether. I mean, only thing is, can one company win awards for two sectors? That is the by doing the same thing. They have done only one thing, and then
No, actually, no. What they are saying is two different operations. I think if we can treat as two different operations, so we
Mm.
may have to see, then we may be able to see what can be done. But at the moment, let them discuss with us and then let's help them to see how they could make the application. Okay.
Yeah, Rohan, I think you can apply for both sectors, but you have to pay both fees.
Right. So, Tiral, you want to say anything?
No, what I'll say, it's Prashant explained very well. It's a tedious task when you are doing it for the first time, because I also work for some companies. The amount of data that you want to gather, the supporting documents, the KPIs that you all do. But as Prashant said, it will be a journey for you all to understand the achievements that you have done for your profession as a cost accountant and the cost accounting fraternity. So I invite all of you all to apply. Even though you are not the winner, you will get a lot of information and a lot of what you call competitive advantage after you filling this, and you will get a lot of information on what you have to do and what you have done. So I invite all of you all to apply and get the benefit out of it.
Thank you. I don't think we are having any other questions, but I think the main thing is, I suppose, the timing and how we are going to fix to fill up the thing. But what you can really do is now say if there are say maybe five questions in one, and maybe where you answer and it is connected with the answer that you are giving, you might be able to say that these areas are also covered in the answer that we are giving, because since it's the first time that you are doing, I know even Mr. Prasanta is very keen that we follow this thing strictly, but I know the practical aspects that are there. So since it's the first time, don't worry too much. You try your best to fill the questions as much as possible, and also to contact us if you have any problems. And then maybe when we are also doing the evaluation, we will be able to check and see whether those things have been properly done. But as I said earlier, the step by step, maybe the questionnaire that have been given by Mr. Prasanta will help you to understand the real meaning of cost. It's not only in cost, but also how it can relate to the strategy, how it can relate to the organizational setup, how it can really relate to governance, because this is a little more than only costing, Because if you really look at costing, it's only costing a product and then working out maybe the actual cost and maybe the selling price. But here it is really cost and management. You see, cost and management is a little more where how you can really properly manage your organization. So that's why you don't have to worry too much of the details that are given, because that is really a learning exercise for you. Because we know that costing has not been in use in Sri Lanka, not been officially not been used. The official recognition to the cost accounting profession was given only in 2009 when the Institute of Certified Management Accountants of Sri Lanka was incorporated by an act of parliament. That was the first time that costing was officially recognized. So now we know that the government officially recognizes costing, especially in the present setup. Even if you look at what the IMF is saying, how the management of the country should be done, how the management of the SOA should be done. And of course, I should say that the private sector is far ahead of all of them, because they have been managing all these organizations very well. But now we have come to a stage where we are really going to put them in a proper way, proper maybe a cost accounting concept, cost accounting and management accounting concept. So as far as CMA is concerned, we are really interested in improving the both the private and the public sector, because you see, if we are going to compete with other countries, if our exchange rate is going to be quite steady and would be able to match without depreciation going in, then if our cost of production has to be uh, similar to the foreign countries, because I think this is something that Mr. Prasanta has mentioned, where he is talking of exports, because ultimately we have to go to that area to earn the foreign exchange. Because if you see, we have maybe over US dollars 100 billion in loans that are there. So this cannot be repaid without this cost consciousness coming, the cost strategic approach coming in, the cost management approach coming in. So all companies definitely will be able to gain by this, and also the economy would really be greatly benefited. So I'm sure that we have a very that Mr. Prasanta has given a very detailed one. It will also be a learning exercise, because all this time you may have done these things, but maybe not uh, categorized into the different aspects that is given. So it's just saying whatever that you are doing, put it into that category. So it's not that there are too many questions coming in, but it's really classification of what you are doing will go into one of those columns that are there. So once again, let me thank all of those who are present, because we would like you to collect the application forms as early as possible, maybe within, because our closing date for applying would be the 20th, what is the date? 20th or 24th, yeah, 20th of July. 20th of July is the date for applying, but within another week or so, I hope that all of you would register with us and get the application form, because we will give you the online application form. But if you have any difficulty in working with the online application form, we will be able to give you the printed one which you can work. So we are flexible in this, because this is the first time that we are doing this. We also want to see that you will be able to do it without any difficulty. And even filling the questionnaires, although each question may have maybe 5 or 6, your answer may be completed in 1 or 2, where you can refer those also to the areas that are mentioned. So that way, that flexibility will be given, so that it will make things easy for you. And we do hope that if you have any problem, you can. I think we have given the names of our technical experts, Mr. Prasanta's number, where you can call him, either Mr. Tiral's number, my number, or Mr. Hennaka's number, or the secretariat, Ms. Rashmi. She will be able to help you. So thank you very much, and we certainly would be able to work with you, because we know that already there are about 50 companies that have shown interest in this, and they are now waiting. Some of them have taken the application, some of them have to maybe obtain the application. So with this session that we had, I know that the number would go up to at least 75. That is our target that we are having, because we know that those who participate in this would definitely gain quite a lot, and that they would get the benefit. And we are in September, when we have the grand award ceremony, we will be able to then reward all those who have done exceptionally well, and also all those who have participated, where we can recognize them also. So once again, thank you very much. I must thank our technical advisor, our Mr. Prasanta Abekon, for the uh, detailed explanation that he went through. He is deeply committed on this costing area. And as I said, many think that costing is only maybe putting things together and working the product. But here, where the strategic management area and the improvement of the managerial skills will certainly come in, and will take the companies to a next level. Now that's the sort of thing that we are looking, that will go to the next level, because this is the first time that we are going to apply the cost and management techniques for companies to improve themselves, and to evaluate them, and to reward them. So thank you very much. I'm sure Arun will have some final comments to make. Arun, thank you very much for coming and supporting us in all this, and also all our participants, the companies that have come, because I know personally most of them have called me and said that they want to send in their application. So I must thank all of them for the great support that they have given to us. And I'm sure not one sector, maybe if you have 3, 4 sectors, certainly we will be able to open it to you, so that you will be able to submit the application and the good work that you have done on the costing. So thank you, and all the very best, and over to you, Arun.
Thank you very much. So, not much to add, except that we are now able to distinguish business excellence from national cost and management accounting excellence. So, it's not about how much profit you're making and what level of participation in the international marketplace that a company enjoys. in terms of volume and quantity. This is a different exercise and it needs to be understood in that sphere. And as has repeatedly been mentioned, there has been a launch of the standards now. And that is the foundation on which this whole exercise is to be conducted, to be able to make corporate citizens fully aware of these new standards, which is not mandatory at this point in time, but in the course of time, one never knows whether a public quoted company will be mandated to abide by these standards that were launched earlier this year. So we just want to underscore the point that this is different from just how much profit is made and how much taxes have been paid and that kind of business excellence. This is not it. This is another one. So I'm glad that Mr. Avekon and Tyrrell too have made these things, how shall we say, understandable by explaining the details in the application form. So this takes it to a different category. And I don't need to add any more than that. And again, thank you very much. And we hope that much profit will accrue to you in the fullness of time by being able to be part of a scheme or an awards arrangement such as this. From now until maybe September, we await your participation and look forward to it. And
July, yeah, 20th July, closing date.
yeah, 20 closing date. Yeah, the awards, of course, is in September. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that need to be done between now and then. So all the very best and goodbye for now.
Thanks, Arun. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. And thanks,
Thank you,
Prasanta.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you.
Thank you.
So we will end the meeting. Thank you very much.